Oh, would you look at me? I'm doing a vlog about cameras and camera equipment. Wait a second, I forgot what I was gonna say. I better get my phone out and look at my notes. Okay, oh man, this is gonna take a little while. I better get up and go all the way over to the camera and press the record button to turn it off. Now I gotta go back and sit down and pick my phone back up and look over these notes. Oh man. All right, time to take a selfie for my thumbnail. Here we go. Oh boy, look at that. Oh wait, it's kind of out of focus. Oh, let's keep going. We'll give it a try. All right, yep, gotta reach over, get up, and I kind of missed my mark. There has just got to be a better way to do this. Does this look familiar? Yeah, this has been me for the last 3.5 years. And it dawned on me, with all of these Canon cameras, there has to be some kind of remote that you can use to actuate the shutter. Of course, you can use the Canon Connect app, I think that's what it's called, and you can activate the shutter that way. I have done that plenty of times in the past and it's worked pretty well. But I've dealt with a lot of connectivity issues. Sometimes I have to turn the camera off and then back on and start the whole process over again of pairing them together. If my phone goes to sleep, it disconnects, so that's a little bit annoying. And then my phone's always giving me these warnings that I'm not connected to Wi-Fi or there's no data over the Wi-Fi. Do you want to try to use cellular? And then I have to say, no, I want to use this Wi-Fi signal even though there's no internet that it's providing. So that can be a little frustrating with the app when you're just trying to remote trigger your camera to take a picture or hit record on a video. So I did some sleuthing on the internet, and lo and behold, there is a Canon Bluetooth remote that you can use to trigger your EOS R, your R5, your R6, your RP, and a number of other cameras. So introducing the Canon BRE1. So there are 3 major reasons why I got the Canon BRE1 Bluetooth remote. The first was to remote trigger my Canon EOS R for my YouTube channel's thumbnails where I'm in the photo. The second was to be able to remote trigger my camera while I was vlogging, whether I was holding the GorillaPod and the camera right in front of me or had it set up on a tripod a little bit further away. And the third and final reason why I wanted the remote was to be able to remote trigger the shutter when I was doing long exposure night photography. So here's a situation I often find myself in. I'm sitting at my desk and I want to do a thumbnail for the video that I've just made for my YouTube channel. Sometimes I have the camera, like you see here, a little bit further away, so it's a kind of a pain to reach out and actuate the shutter button like this. The camera's especially far away, I have to usually get up, lean over, and lose my spot, and then have to sort of re-situate myself, which means the 2-second self-timer is too fast, but then the 10-second self-timer is too long. I'm sitting there kind of waiting for it to actuate the shutter and take my one photo. All right, so I'm editing this right now and I want to jump in as editor Matt and clarify something about trying to use the self timer to take pictures of yourself for a thumbnail. If you're in autofocus mode with eye tracking and then you go and press the shutter, wherever you are in frame when you press that shutter, it's going to lock on focus right there so that when you move away, you're then going to be out of focus. This is the big downside of using that focus mode with the self timer 2 seconds or 10 seconds drive mode. So what you need to do is you need to use manual focus and get a mark here. So you would set your focus, make sure it's here, and then reach forward, press the shutter button, come back, and you would be back in that focus plane. Now, if you're someone that uses a really fast prime lens, like an f1.2, f1.8, f2.0, you really have to make sure that you come back exactly where you were on your mark to make sure that you're in focus. The focal plane is so narrow or so small that you could easily miss your mark and your thumbnail might be a little bit blurrier out of focus. Now with the Canon Connect app, it takes a while to get it set up. First, you have to make sure you have your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled on your camera. Then you have to go to the app. So we'll do that. Pull it up. Now I can get in and we're gonna wait here while it connects. I'm gonna get back to my preview here. Yes, I wanna join. And we'll wait for it to connect. You can see the flashing light in the back of the camera indicating that it's connecting to the camera. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. Okay, now we're finally up. I can see my live view, which I love, and I could start taking some photos by pressing the shutter button. So here we go. Now that's on the 2-second self-timer drive mode. I can actually switch this if I want to the one-shot drive mode, and you can get a sense that it's a little bit more instant than that 2-second self-timer. So we'll try again. And so you can see it's almost immediate with the app. Now what's nice about the app too is you can quickly preview the image that you just took, which is really nice. I will say though that the inconvenience of connecting to the app, the connectivity issues that I've had in the past, it makes it a little bit more painful than it's worth for me for something that's quick and easy like a thumbnail. Now using this paired with the remote in situations where I really want to see the image without having to go over to the camera, hit the playback button, and scroll through the images to get a look, this really comes in handy. But let's take a look at how the BRE1 does it a little bit quicker. So what's nice about this drive mode is under normal conditions, it's a 2-second self timer. So you press the shutter on the camera, it takes 2 seconds, and then it takes the photo. But when you use the BRE1, it's instant. So I can go and really fly through a bunch of thumbnails. What's nice about it is I can just maintain my spot. Once I understand my frame from looking at the display, I can just keep my marks here so that I'm not really moving that much by reaching out to the camera that's far away and pressing the shutter button. So I can just sit, and it just works instantly. It's awesome for selfies, for YouTube thumbnails. And you know what? It's only $43 on Amazon. I got it for $43. Can you believe it? But if you're a YouTuber and you use your Canon camera to take photos for your thumbnails, you have got to get this remote. All right, so another great situation for the BRE1 remote. Let's say you're a YouTuber that does a cooking show or a tech review show, and you have a setup like this where your camera is on a little bit of a longer lens, whether it's a zoom lens or a prime. But let's say you like to shoot at 35mm, 50mm, maybe even 85mm, and the camera is way too far away for you to trigger the record button in movie mode. Well, with the BRE1 remote, you can trigger record to your camera from a distance. So I'm gonna press record now, and the EOS R is recording, and it even has an orange indicator light that lets you know that recording was enabled. If you press stop, the light goes off again to let you know that you've stopped recording. This is especially great for off-the-cuff YouTubers that need to consult their script or kind of gather their thoughts as they make each point throughout their video. So none of those moments where you're looking at your notes on your phone, okay, I need to say this, I need to say that, da-da-da. And you're taking a couple minutes at a time while you're still rolling, because it's just easier to keep rolling than it is to get up, go press stop, sit back down. It's a pain. You can now use the remote to stop recording and only have on your drive the portions of the clips that you're actually going to use. You're almost assistant editing in production because you're starting and stopping, calling action and cut on every shot for, again, just the moments that you intend to use in your edit. This solves that problem, and it does it amazingly. I haven't hit this once on the EOS R where it really didn't register the click. The accuracy and the reliability of it is unbelievable. Like, I am so thrilled about this, and it's only $43. Saves me so much time, especially in the edit bay. You guys have got to think about getting this if you're using an EOS R, an R5, an R6, an RP. It's honestly a game changer for anyone doing this type of content where the camera is too far away to start and stop recording. I cannot believe I've gone 3.5 years with not using this. I had two compatible cameras, the 6D Mark II and now the EOS R, and it took 3.5 years to get this. Ridiculous. Don't be like me, don't wait another day. Get this ASAP for your kit. All right, so this is the third and final situation that I think the BRE1 remote from Canon is really going to come in handy. Now, this isn't the ideal long exposure situation. Most long exposures take the most time when you're outside late at night with very little light, very little ambient light, especially if you're taking photographs of the stars, the Milky Way, things like that. Now, what I've done here is I've created a little panorama using Star Wars action figures and a bunch of stuff I found around my studio to create a situation where I'm using mostly practical lights. So there's a mag light here with the top off to be kind of a light post. I've got a mag light here that's being used as an edge light for Boba Fett down here. And then I have a couple of my studio lights that are the faintest lights that I have, that as in they don't have very much brightness. They're really meant for accent lights, and those lights are going to be put at their lowest settings so that I have to use longer exposures on my camera. Now, the exposure time on this camera isn't quite long enough that if you press the shutter button, it's going to shake the camera to the point where you're going to get a blurry image, but that's what we're trying to avoid with the remote. Now with this, I'm ranging probably between a 1 second and 3 second shutter depending on my aperture. I'm going to take a series of images from aperture of f4 to maybe 6.3 or 7.1 all the way up to an 11 and see what the photos look like with those different apertures. So I'm going to get ready and take a few photos using the remote, and we'll see how this whole setup with the diorama looks in camera. All right, so just to review, we've got aperture of f7.1, I think a 2 second shutter, and we're a little bit underexposed because I'm just liking the way that's looking a little bit more with one stop underexposed. I'll probably do one that's right on the exposure with the spot meter. And we're shooting at ISO 400. So here we go. Yeah, about a 2 second shutter. And then we'll check playback on that. And that's looking pretty cool. So let's go ahead and go down to f4. And then we'll bring our shutter speed. And this one we'll do right on at exposure. Check that. Looks good. All right, then let's go up to an f11. And you'll be able to see a little bit more of the background, I think, that way. And we'll bring our shutter speed so it's right at exposure. And we'll go. You can see that's a really, really long exposure at f11. Alright, so to learn how to pair your new BRE1 Bluetooth remote with your Canon camera, you can go to eos-magazine.com for their excellent guide on how to pair it with, in this example, a 77D. Keep in mind that if you have a camera that's different than a 77D, and it's listed here on this compatibility list, your menu options may be slightly different, but you're going to want to go to the yellow wrench screen and into wireless communication settings to start the pairing process. Just follow this guide step by step and you'll be well on your way to have your remote paired with your Canon camera. All right, let's go over the settings that you need to have on your camera in order to use your BRE1 remote with your Canon camera. Now I'm doing this on a Canon EOS R, so my menu may be a little bit different than yours, but this should give you a general understanding of where to go in your menu system. So we'll hit the menu button and we're already in the wrench here. And we just want to verify that we have our Bluetooth settings correct. So we're going to set this to remote. And pairing is grayed out because my remote is already paired with my camera. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into the info settings and then Q. And you're going to want to make sure that your drive mode is set to either the self timer 10-second/remote or the self timer 2-second/remote. I choose the 2-second/remote. And what this means is that if you use the remote with your camera while taking photos, it's gonna take a photo instantly using the remote. If you press the shutter button directly on your camera, it's gonna do a 2-second self timer. So once you've successfully paired your remote with your camera and you wanna take photos using your remote, you wanna make sure that your drive mode is set to the self timer/remote setting. All right, so we've switched over to movie mode. And there's one setting in the camera that we have to make sure is enabled in order to trigger record using the BRE1 remote. In the menu system, you're going to want to be in the red camera menu and you're going to tab over to remote control. You'll want to make sure that this is set to enable so that you can remote trigger record on your camera. So let's wrap things up and go over the pros and cons of the Canon BRE1 Bluetooth remote. We'll start with the pros. There's a switch on the side that allows you to switch back and forth between photo and video. That's really convenient. You're always connected to your camera. You don't have to constantly pair it like you do with the Canon Camera Connect app on your phone. There's a range of 16 feet from all angles. It has a nice compact design. It saves time when taking selfies or filming yourself for your YouTube content. And it's much better for long exposure photography. And the best pro, the $40 price tag. You can't beat that. So now the cons. Having to toggle settings in your camera to make sure the remote works. Having to make sure the drive mode is correct in order to use the remote. It's easy to forget to do that. The remote only works with the camera it's paired with, so if you have multiple cameras, you'll need multiple remotes, or you'll have to unpair and repair to different cameras. The compact design is nice, but it also makes me feel like I might lose it. The remote has no kind of screen or interface, so you can't preview any photos that you've taken. You have to do it on the camera, unless of course you're shooting tethered. The Camera Connect app is really nice because you can see the photos that you've taken with the app. And that's all I've got for pros and cons. So again, everyone, the BRE1 remote from Canon, $40 to $43 on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description. It is an affiliate link, so if you do purchase through my link, I do get a small commission. It's a great way to support the channel, and if you do that, I am very appreciative. That's gonna do it, everyone, for this video. I can't thank you all enough for watching and tuning into the channel. If you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button and the bell so you get notifications every time we upload a video. And until the next one, I'll see you all soon.
Save it for conversation.